Astonished by his predicament, Diablo's summoners, an elf and a pantherian, debate who summoned him. Both believe they were the ones as they follow the summoning ritual procedures, including the kiss. Upon learning this, Diablo is left awe-stricken that he was kissed and regrets not enjoying it further. As the two summoners continue to debate whether who summoned Diablo, and unintentionally reveal to the curious Diablo that he's at the top of a large stone tower known as the Starfall Tower. Approaching the bickering ladies, Diablo realizes that for the longest time he's never really talked with anyone all of his life, which leaves him in quite a predicament. Therefore, Diablo decides to act in his MMO character persona and then addresses the two in a haughty manner, ordering the two to shake hands with a smile.
You must cease your trivial arguing. Is that the way you behave before Diablo?
Initially hesitant to do so, an overwhelming power forces the two to obey Diablo's command. After this is done, slave collars appear on both of the summoners' necks, which astounds all three of them. At the bottom of the tower, the trio walk and talk about the failed ritual. In it, Diablo realizes that his Demon Lord ring reflected the enslavement spell onto his would-be enslavers. Detailing to his summoners that magic has no effect on him, the group head to the nearby town to dispel the enslavement spell on them. Reaching their destination of Faltra City, they check in at the Peace of Mind Inn, where they're greeted by the bubbly innkeeper May. Nauseous over being in what he considers a large crowd, Diablo is further shocked that Shera wants to register a room that's shared with Diablo. The reason behind this is due to the lack of funding they have, and Rem chimes in, insisting that Diablo stay in her room as she was the one who summoned him. An argument sparks between the two and they're stopped by May, who threatens to throw them out. It's then revealed that the three of them will share a room with a single bed. Contemplating his predicament over the use of a single bed, a woman acquainted with Rem named Celestine Baudelaire and her two followers enter the room.
Hello, Rem, and all. I believe this is the first time we've actually met.
Diablo recalls the name, and Shera states that Celestine is the head of the Mages Association. Remembering Celestine's, or Celeste as she wishes to be called, is a prominent figure in the Cross Reverie game as the one who maintains the barrier in the city. Celeste's initial motive was to talk with Rem, however, seeing the slave collars on Rem and Shera's necks along with Diablo being there, she states her curiosity about their situation. That night at the inn's cafeteria, Celeste is brought up to date with everything involving the failed enslavement ritual. She's also informed that Diablo is unable to dispel the enslavement cast on them. After Celeste realizes she'll have to research from scratch about a way to dispel the slave collars around Shera and Rem's neck. Diablo asks in an authoritarian manner about her business with them, which causes a rebuke from one of her followers named Gallic. Although internally Diablo is frightened by Gallic, he gives a menacing retort that irks him and is also reproved by his superior Celeste. The subject then changes to a brief conversation between Celeste and Rem, who declines having more bodyguards be assigned to her despite Celeste's well-meant intentions. With that settled with, Celeste's party leave for the night, and Diablo asks Rem about her relationship with Celeste. Rem refuses to speak about it, and Diablo has an epiphany that Rem's secret is related to an important main story event that's best to learn about it beforehand to avoid a preventable disaster in the future. Grabbing Rem and placing her on his shoulder, Diablo takes her back to their room to torture her. Back in their room, Diablo tortures Rem in a light and innocent manner until she finally confesses her secret to him.
You ready to talk?
I'm talking now!
You know what I mean. That's fine.
Rem reveals that she has the Demon Lord Krebscume sealed within her body, and Diablo recalls the Demon Lord as the strongest boss in the game. Stating that she wishes to release and extinguish Krebscume's soul from her body, Diablo then details doing that would kill Rem in the process. Furthermore, he deduces that Rem's relationship with Celeste is because of this goal of hers, and that Celeste is the only one privy to Rem's predicament. Afterward, Diablo goes on an excursion around the town while reflecting on how he's done everything all by his lonesome due to his nature. Eventually, he's approached by Gallic and his colleagues from the Mages Association. This leads into an altercation between Diablo and Gallic, who summons a level 30 salamander. While Gallic boasts and threatens Diablo about his summon, Diablo notes that while impressive, its level is way too weak. The salamander then belches a blaze of fire at Diablo, who walks out of it unscathed. Panic-stricken, Gallic orders his summon to incinerate Diablo, and the salamander fires a massive flamethrower-like attack from its mouth. However, the attack still has no effect on the level 150 Diablo. Equipping his wand, Diablo then casts explosion that eviscerates the salamander.
Massive explosion!
Approaching the confuddled Gallic, who demands to know who Diablo is, Diablo answers that he's a Diablo, a demon lord from another world. Awakening in the Peace of Mind Inn, Diablo realizes that his experiences from the previous day weren't a dream. Diablo then puts himself into an awkward situation in bed with the two ladies. Later that day while walking in the streets, Diablo notes the various races that appear in the world. It's detailed by Diablo that where they're walking there are no humans around, to which, Rem answers the district they're walking in is for demi-humans only. Internally, Diablo notes the race disparity between humans and demi-humans and then asks if levels are the main concept of strength in the world. Shera confirms it, but has yet to learn her level, and Rem claims that she's a level 40 summoner. At the Adventurers Guild, a fight between two beastmen occurs and the overall atmosphere of the place has Diablo nervous. Wasting no time, the trio head to the second floor to register themselves as adventurers. Unable to read, Diablo has Shera register him, but states it as he loathes tedious and trivial work, and Shera enjoys the fact as it reinforces that she's his true master. Things, however, get more complicated when a blood seal is needed as the final process. Although he's anxious to do this, Diablo puts on a brave face and what he considers, gives himself a tiny cut on his thumb. On the other hand, his tiny cut turns out to be deeper than he anticipated.
I'm not scared, I'm fine. Like getting a shot. Go! I hit the bone!
Next, the group stand before a mirror that appraises their levels. Shera is level 30, much to her dismay, then Diablo goes next and a scene where the mirror spots out occurs. This attracts the attention of the guildmaster Sylvie, who asks the trio to come into her officer. Inside the office, Sylvie states that due to Diablo's high level there aren't any job requests he can take. However, Diablo is willing to work regardless as he only cares for the rewards. Hence, Sylvie assigns the group to subjugate a Madara snake in the man-eating woods. En route to the woods, the group discuss about the job they've been assigned and how its requester was thought to be Celeste from the Mages Association. The subject that changes to Diablo suggesting they should have used a teleport spell or item to reach their destination. However, no such things exist. Finally reaching the man-eating woods, Diablo notes how macabre the woods look in contrast to the game. Just then, Shera details that they're surrounded, therefore, Diablo casts Burst Rain, setting part of the woods ablaze and pulling the ambushers out of hiding. Said ambushers were elves, one of whom, Shera knew as Celsior, who claims he's there to rescue her. Celsior aims his bow and arrow at Diablo while demanding he release Shera, the princess of the Kingdom of Greenwood. Demanding answers as to why the elves would post a request at the Adventurers Guild under the Mages Association, Celsior refuses to answer Diablo's question. This leads Diablo to figure that there's only one person who could have orchestrated this. Frustrated by this turn of events, Shera speaks her mind, saying she doesn't want to marry her brother and bear his child. A back-and-forth debate between Shera and Celsior occurs, leading to Diablo retaliate against the elves, who fire off a barrage of arrows at him, but are ineffective. Celsior then uses what is called a Tempest Arrow and fires it off at Diablo. However, that too is ineffective against him. Unamused by the elves' antics, Diablo casts Freesia, which freezes the periphery into ice. Out of nowhere, Gallic appears and chastises the elves, who is, in turn, berated by Diablo and reprimanded by Rem. Distraught, Gallic flees the scene and Shera orders the elves to inform her brother that she's never returning home. With their work all settled at that place, they return to the inn. That night in their room at the end, Shera and Diablo have a heart-to-heart with each other that is interrupted by a livid Rem. Diablo and the group sit in Sylvie's office, where she assigns the group a special request that was commissioned specifically for Diablo. The person who submitted the request was Celeste and is believed to be in relation to one of her subordinates' recent misbehavior toward the group. Rem states that she doesn't want to accept it due to her being indebted to Celeste, but Diablo still insists he go with or without Rem. Once that is settled with, Shera reads the details involved with the quest, and it's a simple delivery quest, where they have to deliver refreshments to the Bridge of Ulug. Right before Diablo and the others were about to leave the Adventurers Guild, a man known as Emil stops them and confronts Diablo. Haughtily, Emil introduces himself as not only a superhuman level 50 warrior and challenges Diablo to a duel. Although Diablo is impressed by Emil's personality, he acts in his game persona and taunts Emil. He, in turn, declares his love for all women, will save the enslaved Rem and Shera from Diablo. Wasting no time, Emil uses the sword ability, Sword Smite, against Diablo, but he parries the blow with his wand. For his next move, Emil tries to use another sword skill called Alp's Fall, but is knocked out by Diablo before he could.
It's the moment you'll never see those two!
Contemplating on the disparity of the skill levels of the people in the world from the original game, Diablo concludes that Emil is just an idiot. Up again, Emile tries to attack Diablo only to be stopped by Rem and Shera, who explain their situation to Emile. Now privy to the whole situation, Emile laughs off the situation and apologizes for his behavior from before. He reintroduces himself and claims if they ever need help to not hesitate to contact him, and then walks off in a gleeful manner. Afterward, Diablo and Shera, with the quest items, head to the bridge of Ulrug, and on their way there, Shera suggests they take a dip in a nearby river. Flustered by the suggestion, Diablo rejects that notion and they continue forth. Reaching the bridge of Ulrug, they're stopped by a group of soldiers who mistake Diablo as a fallen. However, one of the soldiers named Boris recognizes him as the horned demon everyone was talking about in the town. The two then learn from Boris that a fallen with a large army of demons is heading that way. Noting that this sort of event never occurred in the games, Diablo wonders what could have triggered it. The soldier Boris then gives Diablo a notice of gratitude for their delivery, and after hearing Boris' anxiety, Diablo volunteers to stay and fend off the invasion. At the inn, Celeste informs Rem that she discharged Gallic for his recent actions. The subject then changes to Diablo's background and how Celeste is suspicious of him being a fallen rather than a demon lord from another world. Rem refutes that notion, defending Diablo not being a fallen. Just then a hysterical Gallic arrives at the scene with his hands all bloody, demanding to hear from Celeste that he wasn't fired from the Mages Association. Right as Gallic was about to stab himself with a black demonic dagger, Rem tries to stop him by summoning a shadow snake. This fails as Gallic still manages to stab himself and then transforms into the fallen Gregor. Meanwhile, Diablo continues fighting against the demon invaders, until the commander of the demons named Edelgard confronts him and the two then fight.
Yes, fight.